Hey yogi friends, Cathy here. So glad you have chosen to join me here on the mat today for practice. We're going to start by warming up here on the floor, moving our way up into some strong warrior poses, and then bring it all back down to end our practice, of course, in a savasana. So go ahead and get into your easy seat here. Roll up a little blanket or towel behind the tailbone if you need that extra support, as I do, to keep the spine nice and tall. Settle in here and close the eyes. Bring attention to any sensations within the body, numbness, tingling, soreness, energy moving about, or even a sense of ease. And then bring some attention to those points in the body that are grounded on the surface beneath you, those points in the feet, the ankles, the legs, and the bum. And let that lower body just sink down into that surface beneath you, really growing heavy and grounding. And then let's bring our attention to our breath. Noticing the depth and the pacing of the breath. Sometimes just bringing attention to our breathing pattern can help us to slow it down and calm the body and the mind. Feel that cool air as it enters the nostrils, and then feel the warmth of the exhale as it exits the nostrils after being warmed by the lungs. And just notice how it feels to sit in this position. Notice the state of mind, the state of emotions here as we first come to practice. Let's take a big full belly breath in, expanding the abdomen, lifting up through the collarbone as we fill the lungs up with oxygen, and then allow that exhale to just naturally release from the lungs, drawing the navel a little closer to the spine to press that exhale out. Let's repeat that twice more. Big full belly inhale, lower abdomen expands. And then I let go of that exhale. And once more. Let's take one more big full belly inhale, and we'll chant Om on the exhale just to open our practice. And that Om is just our reminder about the life force that's within each one of us, connecting us all to one another and to every other living being. And when you feel ready, go ahead and open the eyes gently. And let's lift the arms up over the shoulders first, really lifting up through the fingertips. Allow the shoulders to relax away from the ears. Go ahead and think of lengthening through the side body, lengthening up through the spine, through the crown of the head, and just hold here for a moment and notice how this feels to lengthen the body up here and to still allow the legs and lower body to be grounded beneath you. Clasp the hands together, turn the palms to face the ceiling, and then press up through the base of the palms. So feeling this in the back, opening in the shoulders. Maybe we glance up so that the nose is tilted toward the crease between the ceiling and the wall. And then we'll release the clasp and we'll come into a twist, bringing the fingertips down to rest in front of the legs with one hand, behind the bum with the other. And once they've touched, just raise the arms right back up to that center position. And then we're going to twist to the opposite side. And again, let the fingertips tap down And then inhale as we come to center, bringing the arms back up again. So we're going to continue to windmill the arms in the same way. A few repetitions, inhaling as we draw the arms up toward the ceiling and exhaling as we drop the arms down. And just continue this movement, slow and steady, at a pace that feels right for you. And notice where you're feeling this in the body, in the back, the shoulders, maybe even in the neck. Do you feel it in the hips? And what part of the back do you feel this? Just noticing. We're doing a lot of noticing what sensations we're feeling in the body here. Now let's lift the arms back up to center. We're going to lower the fingertips down, keeping a straight spine. We're going to bend from the hips and walk the fingertips forward. And you'll reach a point where you'll need to stop, of course, because to go any further would require you to curve the spine. And we want to keep a lengthened spine here from the tailbone right out through the crown of the head. So you should feel some opening in the hips here, keeping the sits bones grounded. So you may even press into the fingertips just a bit to encourage that lengthening through the spine and the pressing of the sits bones down. Let's walk the fingertips over to frame one knee. Notice how that changes the sensation in the legs and in the hips. One hip probably feels a little more opening here than the other. Let's walk the fingertips through center over to the other side. And just holding here, notice again how that changes the sensation to move from one side to the other. And then we'll come back to center, pressing up with the fingertips to sit up tall. Let's switch legs. So we'll get that same opening in the hip on the other side. Again, raise the arms up over the shoulders, bringing the fingertips down, walking them forward. Now you might feel in this leg a completely different area feeling the opening. Just notice that. Notice how it changes. And again, pressing the sits bones back and down, lengthening up through the crown of the head. Subtle move, but a nice hip opener here. Walking the fingertips over to frame one knee. Again, keeping length in the spine. Walking back through center to frame the opposite knee. And then walking back through center and pressing up with the fingertips. Let's drop the chin to the chest here and just hold. And I just had to make a correction myself. When the chin drops toward the chest, the rest of the spine stays straight. So the only bend is right here at the base of the neck, bringing the chin toward the chest. Let's rock one ear over to one side, one ear to one shoulder, and just hold there for a moment and feel that opening in the side of the neck. And then we'll drop the chin back to the chest and rock over to the opposite side. Notice how this feels on each side of the neck. One side may be more open than the other. Drop chin back to the chest, and then let's rock back and forth from side to side. Just a few repetitions here, warming up the muscles of the neck, the upper back, and shoulders. If you find a spot where you need to give a little extra time to the opening, go ahead and do that. And then bring chin back to chest, and we'll roll the head up to a neutral position. Now, let's come to a child's pose. So come to the hands and knees first. We're going to bring the knees a little bit wider than the hips. Bring the big toes to touch. And bring the hips back toward the heels. Settling into your child's pose here, you can have the arms extended out in front of the shoulders. Let everything grow heavy. There should be no effort here. Just relaxing into this pose. Maybe even rocking the head from side to side if that feels good. That can be your only effort here. Just noticing how that feels on the forehead. Noticing the grounding sensation of this pose. From our child's pose, let's come up to our tabletop. Now from here, we're going to curve the spine up toward the ceiling, coming into a cat pose, really pressing into the base of the palms and pressing into the tops of the knees and the tops of the feet to really encourage the spine to open up. And then in this position, we're going to bring the hips back toward the heels. So coming back to that child's position. And then we'll come forward onto the forearms first, dropping the belly down, and then press into the base of the palms, keeping the belly opened up and dropped. So we're now in a cow. So we're going to do a dynamic cat-cow. So from this cow position, go ahead and come into your cat, come back to that child's position, bring the weight forward onto the forearms, press into the base of the palms, and you're now in cow. So we're just continuing to move through this cat and cow position. And when you are in that child's pose and coming through to the forearms, remember to keep the elbows close to the body as you press into the palms to come into that cow. So just continue this move a few more times, really pressing into the fingertips and the base of the palm so the hands are like little spiders here. And we're just opening up the spine and warming up the arms here at the same time, creating some strengthening. Let's do this twice more, and we'll land in a tabletop position. So when you get to that tabletop, go ahead and rest there for just a moment, bringing the belly back up so that you're in a neutral tabletop, drawing the navel toward the spine here. Let's lengthen the right arm out in front of the right shoulder, lengthen the left leg out behind the left hips. We're pressing out through the fingertips, keeping the shoulder plugged in, drawing the navel up to the spine, pressing out through the heel behind us. Holding there for just a moment, remembering to breathe. And then let's bring that hand and that knee down. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, lengthening out from the left shoulder, keeping the left shoulder plugged in, draw the navel to the spine, and then lengthen the right leg out so that there's a straight line from the right hip to the right heel, flexed foot, pressing out through the heel, holding there for a moment, and then we'll relax that down. Let's now come into a down dog. Once you get there, go ahead and pedal the feet a little bit, pressing one heel into the floor as the other foot rises up onto the toes, the ball of the foot. And just feel that lengthening in the calves all the way down to the Achilles. Keep that spider grip in the hands. So we're engaging the forearms and taking a little bit of weight out of the wrists. And really feel that warming up in the feet and the legs here. When you feel ready, come to stillness in your down dog. Lengthen the crown of the head toward the front of your mat. Keep a flat back, pressing the tailbone up and out with the sits bones and allowing the shoulder blades to just relax down the back. So we're creating some space between the shoulders and the ears here. And now from this down dog, we're going to come up onto the toes, come forward, and come into a plank position. Hold your plank here for just a moment. If this is a little much, go ahead and bring the knees down into a half plank. And then we're going to come all the way down to the tummy, keeping the elbows super close to the body as we come all the way down to our tummy. And from here, we're going to use the muscles of the back. And the palms are very light on the mat. Use the muscles of the back to lift the head and the chest off the mat into a little baby cobra. So little effort should be in your hands and arms that you could even lift them off the mat. That's what we're working towards, strengthening that back. Now from here, let's come back up to our downward facing dog. Pressing through the palms. You can come up through a plank, you can come up through a tabletop, you can come up just by pressing up slowly. Just take your time to get to that down dog. Go ahead and pedal the feet again a little bit here. Waking up the feet and the legs. And then let's walk the feet forward into our forward fold. Just hanging the head here. Nice grounding here. Sway a little from side to side. Really let gravity do the work here, pulling the head toward the feet. You can shake the head, a little bit of an exaggerated no. Work out some kinks in the neck there, an exaggerated yes. Really bringing the chest close, or the chin close to the chest. And then just hold here in your forward fold for a minute. Go ahead and bend the knees here. We're not really locking out the knees. Excuse me. Just allowing gravity to do a lot of work for us here and lengthen the backs of the legs. When the hamstrings are tight, we need more of a bend in the knees. So the knees can be bent so much that the chest and the tummy come right down to touch them. Just listen to what your body needs here. Now we're going to press into the soles of the feet and lift up into this 7 shape with the body. So we're lengthening, coming into a halfway lift, lengthening out through the crown of the head. Lift the elbows up slightly so that the shoulders don't fall forward. Press out through the sits bones behind you, really lengthening and opening up the hips and the sits bones. And feeling the strength of the legs here, draw the navel up as well to support the low back. Pulling the shoulders away from the ears. Strong pose here. Go ahead and fold back down. And take another little sway here. Then we're going to bring the right foot back and lower onto the sole of the foot at about a 45-degree angle. Go ahead and bend that front knee if it isn't already. And then press into that front foot really strongly and roll up to stand tall. And readjust that back leg or back foot if it is not in a comfortable position. And then raise the arms up over the shoulders into a warrior 1. So the front knee should be no further forward than over the ankle. We want it to be right above the ankle to protect that knee joint. Make sure that the head is right above the heart space and the heart space is right above the pelvis. And we want to allow shoulders to relax here again. And then let's turn to this side. We're going to open into a warrior 2. Now you might need to readjust the feet because we want this front foot, the ankle of this front foot to be right in line with the arch of the back. So just take a look down, see if you need to rearrange. And the weight of this back leg is really concentrated in the outer edge of the foot. So if you need to move the toes in just slightly closer to the body than the heel, that can help. And again, front knee no further out over the foot, just over that front ankle. Holding here, feeling your strength, feeling that energy out through the fingertips, out through the feet, and out through the crown of the head. And again, head is over heart, heart is over pelvis. And then we're going to cartwheel the arms around so we can frame that front foot. So we're coming down, rise up onto the back toes from here. And then we're going to take this front foot, bring it back, and come into our downward dog. Pedaling the feet again here. Strong down dog. And then let's walk forward to that forward fold again. And sway a bit from side to side. And then enjoy that forward fold. Feel the length in the back of the legs. And from here, I am going to move so that I don't have my back toward you. You stay put for one moment. This time we'll take the left toes back and come onto the sole of that left foot with the foot at about a 45-degree angle. And we're going to press into that front foot, the right foot, so that we can come up into warrior one legs, and then we'll raise the arms up above the shoulders into our warrior one. Strong warrior one here. Knee of the front leg right over the front ankle, and weight of that back leg concentrated in the outer edge of the foot. Shoulders relaxed away from the ears. Let's open up into our warrior two. Head over heart, heart right over that pelvic bowl. And again, feel your strength here. Looking out over those front fingers. Let's cartwheel the hands down, come up onto those back toes. And then we're going to use a little momentum in that back foot to bring it forward into our forward folds. And sway a little bit from side to side. From here, we're going to rise up tall, raise the arms up overhead. Little back bend here at the top, pulling the navel in, opening up through the front of the chest, and then diving back down into our forward folds. Let's take a halfway lift here into that shape of a 7. Once again, opening up through the sits bones, drawing the navel up toward the spine, lengthening out through the crown, and lifting the shoulders and elbows just slightly so they don't fall forward. And then we'll lower back down and roll back up to our mountain one more time. Tall in the spine, little back bend at the top. Bring the hands around to prayer position at the heart and close the eyes. And just notice any sensations in the body here real quickly. We'll take a moment. Notice the heartbeat. Notice the breathing pattern. And again, notice any energy or sensations in the different parts of the body here. Let's, from this point, step legs wide to the wide edge of our mat. And let's bring the arms up tall overhead. We'll lower them down, bringing the hands to the hips. We're going to bend the knees just a little bit so that we can lean forward halfway, coming into a wide-legged forward fold here. And at this point, take the big toes and bring them just slightly closer to the center of the body so that the heels can be opened a little bit wider. This will allow the weight of the legs to be in the outer edges. And then we'll come all the way down to our forward fold. And just allow the weight of the head to hang heavy. Allow the arms to rest wherever it is most comfortable. If you want to bring a block over here to rest it under the forehead, sometimes that pressure on the forehead can feel nice. Letting the weight of the head just fall into that block, sink right in. That's an option if you'd like to take it. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and bend the knees a bit more. Come up to that halfway point again with the hands on the hips. Press down into the feet and come all the way up tall. From here, let's turn one foot out so we can step back to the top of our mat. Bring the hands to prayer position here. Tall mountain pose with hands in prayer. Lengthening up through the crown, engaging the pelvic floor and the thighs. Giving a little squeeze in the feet as if you were pulling a towel toward your arches with the toes of the feet. A little grip there, and feel that grip come all the way up through the center of your legs, right up to the pelvic floor, all the way up to the navel so that it draws in and up. So we're really tall, zipped up in the center. From here, we're going to just bend forward from the hips, coming into a chair, but we don't want to start bending the knees until it's necessary. So keep a flat back, lengthening out through the crown of the head, lengthening out through the tailbone. Lower about an inch and raise about an inch. Lower about an inch and raise up about an inch. Lower down, raise up, and lower down, and rise up. And then we're going to slowly lower all the way down to the floor. Now, sometimes you might need to grab a block if you need a little extra support, or maybe 2 blocks. If you're able to come all the way down, keeping the feet flat, great. If you need to come up onto the toes, go ahead and do so to help you get there. We're just trying to slowly reach the floor without any falling. We don't want any of that. So take your time getting there. Go ahead and lengthen the legs right out in front of the body, in front of the hips. And when you get there, lengthen up again through the spine, tall through the back. The feet are flexed so that the toes are facing the ceiling. We're going to raise the arms up over the shoulders, bending again from the hips here and coming to a forward fold, keeping the back flat. If you start to curve your spine, back it up a little bit. This does not have to be a super far forward fold in order to get the benefits. We're lengthening the back of the legs. We're causing some compression in those abdominal organs. Good for digestion. Good for strengthening and lengthening. So resting the hands here either on the legs or on the mat beside you, but again, lengthen from crown to tail. And then we're going to sit back up tall, lengthen those arms back up overhead again, lower down. Go ahead and bring the right hand up over the shoulder and then bring that hand down to rest either just outside the knee or right above the left knee. Bring the left arm up over the shoulder and all the way around to rest right behind the bum. Right behind that left hip. And so we're in a simple twist here. You can glance over that back shoulder. And again, sit tall in the spine. To come out, we'll lift that left arm up and around. We'll lift the right arm up and around and go ahead and bring that right hand to rest right behind the right hip. We'll bring the left hand up, bring it around, and it should rest either right beside the right knee or just above the right knee. We're not pressing into the knee, we're just holding the hand gently in that position. And then you can glance over that right shoulder. Again, sitting tall in the spine. If you need that little rolled towel or blanket behind the tailbone here for support, go ahead and use that if that helps keep the spine tall. And to come out of this, we'll raise the left arm up and around, raise the right arm up and around. Let's move the bum forward. Go ahead and bring the knees toward the ceiling. Grab the backs of the knees here and just hold for a moment in this. So we're lengthening up through the spine, from tail to crown, opening the shoulders so that the chest is open and the shoulders are relaxed away from the ears. And from here you might rock back just a bit, keeping the spine straight again. So you'll feel the abdominal muscles engage here to hold you in this position. And this might just be plenty right here to engage the abdominals. You may want to lift the knees, making sure that the abdominal muscles and the chest muscles are doing the work here. We don't want to be gripping in the hip flexors, which I sometimes do. So if they are gripping, go ahead and bring the feet back down and just take that little bit of lean back. If you want to kick this up a notch even more, you can lengthen the hands out in front, but again, keeping the shoulders plugged in, or you might even extend the feet out more. So lots of options there on your boat pose, and even sitting tall in this position with the feet completely on the floor and no tilt back is engaging that core to stay in this tall position. So from here, let's gently go ahead and roll slowly down. Rolling slowly, slowly, slowly. Let's go ahead and lengthen the arms up above the shoulders. Lengthen the legs out straight on your mat. Taking a full body stretch. So press out through the base of the palms and press out through the heels of the feet so you can feel that lengthening of the body. And then go ahead and bring the hands down on either side of the body. We're going to go ahead and come into a crescent here on our mat. So walk the heels over toward the bottom corner on the right hand side and walk the shoulders and the head over toward the top right corner. Now from here, you can use the right hand to grab hold of the left wrist and just hold on to it, and you'll feel that bit of lengthening there in the arm and the side body. You can also bring the left ankle over top of the right ankle just to cross over, and you'll feel again a little bit more of an opening in the side body just from these anchor points in the ankles and the wrist. Just holding here and feeling that opening in the side body. Remembering to breathe deeply and completely. And then we'll release the grasp of the wrist, release the cross of the ankles, and just walk everything over to the opposite side. So walking the heels toward the bottom left corner, head and shoulders walking over toward top left corner, using the left hand to grab hold of the right wrist and crossing the right ankle over top of the left ankle, feeling that opening all the way up the outside of the right leg, through the right side body, all the way up and out the pinky finger on the right hand. Again, remembering to breathe here. We're not really focused so much on the curve, trying to make a more contracted curve as we are about the lengthening on the opening side of the body. Let's go ahead and release the grasp of the wrist, release the cross of the ankles. Now bring the soles of the feet to your mat and the knees are pointing toward the ceiling. We're going to just windshield wiper the knees from side to side here. So rocking knees side to side will also rock us on the sacrum, the low back, and the hips. All of that low back body is getting a little bit of a massage here. So enjoy that. Take this at whatever pace is most comfortable. The slower pace is going to be more gentle on the low back. And we always want to take care of the low back, protecting it. And then when you feel ready, go ahead and come to stillness here. Let's keep the knees bent toward the ceiling. Walking the feet a little bit wider than the hips and bring the knees to touch one another. You can bring the toes in a little closer to the center of the body, opening the heels out a little bit, and just notice how that changes the sensation and the rotation of the hips. Just relaxing here, allowing the weight of the body to fall into your mat, to sink in. Notice how this feels on the sacrum and in the legs. And let's bring the feet back underneath the knees so that the heels and the knees are in line with one another. The knees are in front of the hips. We're going to come into a bridge here. So if the arms are not on either side of the body, go ahead and place them there. Before we start to rise up, I want you to do that little grip in the feet again. Little grip in the toes, the arches of the feet. Feel that engagement move all the way up the insides of the calves and the thighs. Engage the pelvic floor. Engage the navel down toward the spine so that the low back touches the mat. And then from there, we're going to press into the heels and lift the hips up into our bridge, holding there for a moment at the top, and then we're going to slowly roll back down, keeping that engagement of all those muscles. And when the hips finally reach the floor, we're going to release everything, release all those muscles. Now let's do that twice more, engaging in the feet, giving that grip all the way up the center of the legs, engage the pelvic floor, engage the navel down toward the spine, and then begin to roll up so that the hips rise off the mat, hold at the top there, and then we'll roll down one vertebra at a time. And when the hips release onto the floor, we release all of those muscles once again. We're going to do that one more time. Gripping into the toes and the arches, feeling that engagement come all the way up the center of the legs, right into the pelvic floor area, drawing the navel down toward the spine, rolling up one vertebra at a time as we lift the hips up and pressing the hips up slightly, holding at the top. And then we'll roll gently back down, one vertebra at a time, taking it slow. And then when the hips release onto the mat, we relax all those muscles. Let's go ahead and bring both soles of the feet to touch each other so that the knees are nice and wide. We're going to now open up the inner legs, opening up the muscles in the groin and the pelvic floor after all of that engagement. You can bring the hands to rest on the belly if you like. Maybe even making a little diamond shape with the pointer fingers and the thumbs touching each other over the low abdomen there. Allow the shoulders to relax down into your mat and feel the movement of the hands as you inhale and exhale, as the belly expands and contracts with each inhalation and each exhalation. From here, let's extend the feet out in front, coming into our shavasana here. If you have a blanket and you want to use it here, you can cover the body and keep it warm. If you're already nice and warm, no need for the blankie. It's entirely up to you. Just come into your shavasana and let the feet fall open naturally. Let the arms rest on either side of the body with the palms facing the ceiling. And allow the weight of the body to completely sink into your mat. The shoulders are sinking down, the upper back, the sacrum and hips. All the way down through the legs, into the heels. Everything is sinking and heavy on your mat. Even that place in the back of the head that is resting on your mat. Take some time to just be and breathe, letting any thoughts that come to mind just pass through without attachment or judgment. I'll let you know when it's time to come back to full awareness. We're going to take a little bit of an extended shavasana here for about 5 minutes. Just be and breathe. Go ahead now and begin to bring some movement into the fingertips and the toes. Maybe making some circles with the ankles and the wrists, one direction and then the other. Go ahead and start rocking the hips a bit from side to side. And then let's lengthen the arms up overhead and take another big full body stretch, pressing through the base of the palms, through the heels of the feet, and then bringing the arms down again. Let's roll over onto one side of the body, keeping the eyes closed here. Coming into a loose fetal position, pillowing the head with the arm. Take a full breath cycle here. Using the hands to press you back up to seated into that Sukhasana, that easy cross-legged position that we started our practice in. Go ahead and pull that support of a blanket or towel roll beneath the tailbone if you need it. Settling into your Sukhasana here. Keeping the eyes closed. Noticing how it feels to sit in this position now versus when you first came to practice. Again, noticing the breathing pattern now. Notice if there's been any shift in the state of mind or the state of the emotions. Noticing any sensations anywhere in the body. Noticing the lower body grounded on the surface beneath you. Let's bring the hands to prayer position at the heart. Take a big full belly inhale and we'll chant Om together on the exhale. Let's draw the thumbs up to the forehead. May we have peace in our thoughts. Thumbs at the lips. May we have peace in our words. Thumbs back at the heart space. May we have peace in our hearts. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. And I bow as I say, Namaste. Thank you so much for being here to practice with me today. I really hope that this practice has brought some peace and tranquility into your day that you can now carry with you wherever you go and bring it into whatever space you enter as you go about your day. Would love it if you are interested in more practices from me, if you would subscribe to the channel and also click the little bell so you receive notifications anytime a new practice is posted. You won't miss out on any of the newest options for practicing that way. And if you have any questions about the practice or comments or feedback, please leave those in the comments section below. I look forward to practicing with you again very soon. Namaste.